If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Mayor Jim Heigl joins us this morning from the city of Sylacauga. And Jim, any way you slice it or dice it, that's hot weather, man.
It is very hot. Think of that index. I mean, you can stand there and just feel the sun beating down on your back. It's unbelievable how hot that is.
Busy time of the year for the city of Sylacauga and the Sylacauga City Council. The announcement last week of the purchase of, I think, 13 and a half acres or so over the Mill Village. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, it was property that was given to the museum. And over the years, they have tried to sell it. They've advertised it and everything else, and nobody seemed to pick up on it. And Don Smith questioned us about it, you know, and Donnie Blackman presented it to the council last week, and they approved to purchase it for $25,000. It was originally valued at about over $100,000. I believe that was at the time when Ivandale was up, and probably a little less than that today, but it's a bargain.
Why would we buy that?
Not for right now, but probably in the future to help clean up that area over there and give us a little footing over there, you know, and help people out. That's some people in that area may want to annex. But right now the property is in the county. It's not in the city limits. So we'll have to go through legislation to annex that property into the city, and that's going to take quite a while.
Is that just something that you knew going in would have to take place, however?
Oh, yes. I mean, we have, there's some other people out there that may want to annex in the city who are not contiguous to the city property land. We'll have to go through legislation, so we'll set it aside for a while, and those people want to do, we'll present it to the legislature or Ron Johnson at one time and get it all done at once.
Physically walk us through that parcel there.
Well, on the south side, you have an alleyway that goes through there. On the west side, you have Tennessee Avenue. And on the east side, I think it's Mount Vernon Road that goes up that way.
Now, that's where, in the area where Poke and Beef used to be.
Poke and Beef, the property surrounds the Poke and Beef property. That does not include the cemetery out there or the Poke and Beef property.
For a layman just looking in and they say, $25,000 for 13 and a half acres in the Mill Village.
In the county.
You don't have any immediate plans for it. You know, that may raise some eyebrows with some people.
Well, yeah, but they're not making any more land. So you got an opportunity to take advantage of it. Same thing with Food World Building. We really didn't have any use for the Food World Building, but we got an opportunity to get it for a tax write-off. Why turn it down? It's down there in the future. It could be beneficial to our city to help us grow, to expand.
Have we had any bites on the Food World property?
Yes, engineers are looking at the building now, the structure and everything else. We're looking at it now.
Okay. Downtown Sylacauga, always important, and you know, there's always ups and there's always downs in a city of our size.
Well, it is, and you know, what the code department's doing with the new ordinances and everything else, and the zoning is real contractor friendly. It's going to make it easier for them to build and construct. Of course, they'll still have to come under the Alabama rules of 2012 of constructions, materials, and all that. That law is still in effect, but we're making it easier by subdividing it a little bit, making it easier where they can have loft apartments, where they can have apartments downstairs and then run a business out front, or however they want to do it. There's nothing in the, well, you can write on the wall right now, but somebody's looking at the old Arnold building, old Foot Brothers building, and that's great. We're growing. Things are happening downtown, and you can see it yourself. Alan Sanders and his wife, they're doing a beautiful job and doing things like that. And other people are sitting in the wings waiting. This Thursday, the Planning Commission will meet. In this meeting, they will pick out all the mixed zoning and subdivisions and everything and present it out, and then we'll send it to the council, hopefully to get it on their next agenda to pass. And we have contractors waiting in the wings, waiting to build buildings and all, but they're waiting for these ordinances and these mixed-use ordinances to come into effect.
The grant money's being used wisely, and it couldn't help but notice the really upgrade on the sidewalks down by the library and there at City Hall as well.
It's quite an eye-opener. It looks good down there. The lights should be in within the next couple of weeks, and these lights will be comparable or pretty well matching the ones that's on 1st and 2nd Street. And we're going to stick to that the way it looks. It looks so much better, it's cleaner, it's neater, And that's very important to our city, you know, our outward appearance, how we look when people come through here. 21, there's thousands of people coming through here every year. All right, let's just take Peyton Boulevard. I'm trying to push to get that one paved. Worked with LDOT, met with them, and they're going to help us a little bit with that Peyton Boulevard. And they said, well, we got to get a traffic count. 2 weeks ago, they came in, they put traffic count from 12 noon Monday to 12 noon Wednesday. 13,800 some odd cars was on that road.
Just on that strip?
Just on that strip.
Wow.
Now, that was just Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You can imagine what it's like on the weekends. But LDOT's been very helpful to us in many ways. The 2015 grant downtown, that's part of that. They helped us with that as an extension, and they helped us with the 2018 and 19. And also have a print here of what they're going to do with Gene Stewart and James Peyton Boulevard. They see the need for these trucking lanes to open up. What they'll have is a turn lane adjacent to the main line. It will not just be 2 lanes, there'll be 2 more here for right turns and left turns.
Wow.
And, but as you know, industry's coming. We've got a new industry out there now. It's Plastic Cal. That's going to increase the truck traffic by roughly about 100, 130 a week. And what's already come out of ICO, Emery's, Omnia's, Heritage Plastics. Of course, most of them go to 280. But
huge employers in our community?
Oh, yes. I mean, we've got a 100% grant going to Heigl Road. This is a industrial excess grant, and it'll pay for it, new paving and everything going into the new Plastic Cal industry. Any industry that's built and employs at least 25, you can get these grants, and that's what we're getting, because they're going to employ approximately 50.
Wow.
Once they get up.
Speaking of truck traffic, you know, we put some teeth in the laws of truck traffic, where they can go and where they can't, and that's paying off.
Well, it is paying off, Jimmy Dale, because it's saving our streets. They're not getting tore up like they used to. Local delivery's fine, you know, because they're not all that in there all that much, you know, just for delivery, and they're gone. It's not like going through there every day. And it's really saved our roads a lot. And the traffic, LDOT is, like I said before, they're well on board on what the traffic is in our area, and they're working with us every way they possibly can to help to expedite the traffic and looking at trying to keep from accidents from happening.
Just had a ribbon cutting a few weeks ago in the new spec building out there.
The spec building, yes, that's a 60,000 square foot. Alabama Power will be putting 70% of the cost into that, and the Talladega County Economic Development Board will be putting the other percentage in there. And this is a good time. Interest rates and all, they're down. Money is affluent, and it's a good opportunity for a spec building. People complained about the last spec building, you know, well, it sat out there for 8 years, yes. But look what happened to the economy. What was the economy when they built it? Interest rates were higher than sky high, and in 2008, man, it took a dive. And that building sat there because there wasn't any money to forget it. But now it's sold now, the economy got back right again. And I suspect this spec building will probably move pretty quickly in the future.
Yeah, you like I've heard the old saying, you feed them, they'll come. Well, in our community, in that industrial complex, you build it and they'll come.
That's right, and that's what a spec building does. It draws people in. And these buildings are set up. One of the plastic companies out there have already got 60,000, went to 80,000. Now they're going to 100,000 square feet. This building now that they're building today, it is 60,000 square feet, but yet they can add another 40 and bring it up to 100. And that's why these buildings, same thing with the one that Fleetwood Metals is using out there by the airport. It can be extended to another 40,000 square feet, making it 100.
Wow. Sylacauga Mayor Jim Heigl is our guest this morning, and we always get questions. I get a lot questions, and I can't imagine what you and the council may get as leadership in our city. But I'm pose a question weekly, at least once a week. Well, we want more on Highway 280, on that corridor out there. We want a Publix here. Publix is coming here, and I've asked several city councilmen, I've asked you on this same show, you know, Publix turned down Alexander City just a couple of months ago. They had negotiated with them for several years. There's a lot goes in.
A whole lot goes into a lot of meetings, a lot of understanding, and bringing everybody together to get them all on the same page, just like everything, just like our LDOT programs and grants and everything else. We got to get everybody on page. This is lay it out ahead of time. Publics, they came here. They looked at us. Will they come back in a year? We hope so. 280, we know that 280 is going to pretty well take care of itself. With what LDOT's doing out there, helping us with it, and the Hutton projects and all out there, things are growing. I'm really trying to find a developer. I wish you'd find a developer, bring us a nice bowling lane or a movie theater in here. I don't want no 8 thing, you know, something maybe 3 or 4, you know, but we're trying to build up the quality of life for our people for they want to stay here. Because so many people I hear, well, I went up to Inverness, I went up here, I went bowling, I went to movies, theaters. Well, we went up and saw this show, you know.
It's easy for them to do that, you know. We don't offer that here. So.
Yeah, I know it. But things are growing in Sylacauga, and that's the kind of quality of life we want to get people here. Things happen. There's a lot happening in Sylacauga for certain small groups. We need more for our kids. We need better additions to our sporting facilities. They need football fields and soccer fields. That's a big thing. We need some more tennis courts. We need that. But we got, right now, there are approximately 8 houses, brand new houses being built in Sylacauga. We haven't seen new houses built in Sylacauga in many a year.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's starting to happen. We've got 3 subdivisions. One's a big subdivision, and we got 2 smaller subdivisions that developers are looking at. So things are happening in Sylacauga. We're doing the right thing. Our school is great. Dr. John Seegers, we got a great superintendent, you know, and he's done a wonderful job. He had about 23 vacancies in there, and he was able to fill these vacancies. And that is something that's in demand all over the country.
Oh, yeah.
There was an 8% increase in various types of education, mostly mathematics, engineering, and also bilingual. I didn't realize, you know, you think about bilingual teachers, you know, trying to teach different languages. That's very important, and it's going to increase over the next 10 years by about 8%. So teachers are well in demand, but we've been very fortunate with our school. What a wonderful job they've done down there.
Talk about the financial structure of our city as a whole. Where are we there?
Well,
with our finances.
I haven't looked at
I hope it's better than my house.
I can assure you. I understand you got a little tax increase on your properties.
Yeah.
But that is for the schools and all. But really, it's we're doing real good. We're able to put a little money aside. Everything that the council, they study it very hard. They look at it, and they make sure before they spend that penny, they've got at least a penny or 2 back here to back it up. It's just like a lot of our bonds and everything else, we know we got the money to back it up.
City of Talladega has their mayoral and council and board elections this month. And Sylacauga structured differently. Is that next year?
Next year.
Okay, okay.
Well, they have a city manager in Talladega, you know, and Sylacauga is structured just a little bit different with the mayor and the 5 councilmen, and the mayor does not have a vote, you know, on the council. And but already, Yolanda Burns, our finance director, she has already presented all the department heads with the 2020 budget. They'll go over it this month, they'll study it, we'll go over it with that, and then we'll sit down with her, and by next month, we'll sit down with the council and go over it with them. What I want to do is have this budget out of the way. When they meet the first meeting in October, they say, we got a budget. And we don't have to keep drag it on.
That'll be a first in a long time.
Well, we about made it last year. Yeah. And we're going to do it again this year. We're going to really push. We see some of the hiccups, you know, and get around those. But we got to have a budget ready when they come in October and start the new year right. And,
you know, with the city employees, you want to take care of them. You want to make sure
absolutely.
That, yeah.
I mean, that's my job, you know, look after the departments and do all we can for them, support them every way we can, you know. They're the ones that are providing all the services that we cannot provide for ourselves, you know.
Jim Heigl, Mayor of Sylacauga, our guest this morning, talking about the property that was purchased a couple of weeks ago, 13.5 acres in the Mill Village area that actually is under the direction of the county as of now, but that's going to change in the future. Do you see that in that particular area? Do you see that expanding in the future?
Over the years, I imagine so. People, we cannot annex anybody into the property without their permission. If they're property owners, we got to have their permission to do it, and they got to volunteer to do it. The council last year, beginning of the year, put a opportunity for people to annex into the city at no cost. And now they extended it to December of this year. And
what's the reason for the
population?
Okay.
Population, Sylacauga's population's been about 12,000 for up to a dozen years. It doesn't seem to change. And this has given us an opportunity. We have to stay at least 12,000 or above. If you start dropping below 12,000 in population, you wind up being a town. That affects all your grants and everything else that you want to go after. If we stay 12,000 above, we can go after these grants, these LDOT grants and other grants, because they know that we've got the tax base to cover it.
So the numbers are hugely important.
It's very important. And the bigger the cities, we're number 6. And take somebody like Birmingham, Mobile, who's number 1, you know, because of their populations, you know.
And when you think about population numbers and homes and schools, businesses that are looking at your community, that's some of the first thing they look at.
Well, absolutely. When they come through here, well, just like you said, Publix look at homes. They didn't look at your population. They said homes buy groceries. Mm-hmm. And that's what they look at. And the more homes and you've got here, the better off we are. And the population is the big asset to us, you know, and that's what we're fighting for. The council sees this, and they've been doing a very good job, you know, and it's paid off. We've had a lot of people annex into the city, and we're sort of worried about the county. You know, we didn't want to take any students away from them. But when we started looking at it, we saw who annexed in there, and the students were already in Sylacauga. They were paying about $1,500 a year to have their students in Sylacauga. So we felt it made us feel a little bit better that we weren't taken away from the county because they were already sending their schools, kids to Sylacauga School. They just saved that $1,500 a year when they annexed into the city for nothing. Mm-hmm. So.
Sylacauga Mayor Jim Heigl, our guest this morning. Mayor, always a pleasure. Thanks for coming by.
Well, it's my pleasure, too. It's like to keep the people informed of what's going on in Sylacauga. It's their city, and we want to do all we possibly can for our residents and all our...
All right. More Daybreak coming up right after this time out.